to raise millions and even take him abroad. So we were able to go and do home lesson in UK. And I was trying to really dazzle the person that, what about if you say they want to give 100,000? He said, no, these ones, I'm just okay. That's a spirit of complacency. The mindset of complacency. The Bible says, my people are destroyed. Any human is a limitation in knowledge. And I tell you again, the greatest disservice you can do to yourself is to choose the path. The greatest disservice you can do to yourself is to choose the path of ignorance. So I'll be talking about activating the potential of your destiny. Part 2. Part 2. Of your destiny. Part 2. Part 2. Please stay away from every distraction. Make sure you focus. Activating the potential of your destiny. Part 2. And last week we talked about vision gap. Also we talked about 3 problems of vision. We talked about long-sightedness, seeing great vision but don't know how to get there. We talked about short-sightedness, having a short-sightedness in mind. All they consider is just present. They are not considering of the future. Those who are short-sighted of vision, they only ever see today, they don't see tomorrow. So they are making decisions based on today. And that's what differentiates between a CEO and an operator. The fact that you are a CEO doesn't mean you, because you have a large office, large incorporation. It talks about, and that's why you see, when a certain management, Coca-Cola has been for several years, almost about 30 years. And there was a time, there was a change in the management. And a certain CEO was brought on board. And the man had a bigger vision of taking over the world. By so doing, the man took Coca-Cola all over the world because there was a change in leadership that backed the change in visionary acumen. 2 individuals called CEO, but 2, they have different vision. One has a different vision gap, and one is full of vision. One could see tomorrow. Another one was so considered full of today. So the other one is blindness. Some people are not seeing at all. They're just living for daily bread. That's why you see all those some abokis on the road. They can be in Lagos for 20 years. They will never rent a house. Just sleeping from one place to another. They are homeless forever. You know, sometimes I look at it. Why should government even allow these things? And it becomes generation to generation. They pass it to the next generation. They teach the next generation how to beg. The greatest skill they ever hand over to the next generation, to their children, is the skill of begging. You see some children running all around you on the road and begging, Oga now. That's what they pass down from generation to generation. But it's so painful that the government allowing such things, you know, because such people, they don't have a cut hand, they don't have a cut leg, but all they ever think is about daily bread. Blindness. They don't see anything. So they don't have a way of tweaking their future on a better wing of achievement. All they ever think about is. So that's what we're able to achieve at Vision Gap. Today, we're going to be talking about something that's dear to my soul under this topic. It's talking about knowledge gap. Knowledge gap. Like I said earlier, the greatest limitation is a limitation in knowledge. The greatest limitation is not the limitation of your environment. It's not the limitation of the country with which you are living. It's not the limitation per se of the economy. One of these days I will be taking a teaching in overcoming systemic limitation. But I want you to really get it. Your complaint of economic challenges, is real, it's true. But let me tell you, all that matters is not just about economic challenges. It's limitation of your mind. Because even during COVID-19, companies were emerging and companies were scaling. In fact, COVID-19 has been the pivotal for gig economy today, where people can work from home. And And that's the order of the day. It has opened also another dimension in the economy, in productivity. So, in a place where challenges are prevalent, you have to understand through knowledge that solutions are available. Okay, and there's a thing I want to tell you also. What is knowledge gap? Knowledge gap is a lack of adequate, write it down. Knowledge gap is a lack of adequate information, skill, exposure, and ambition. What is knowledge gap? Knowledge gap is a lack of adequate information, skill, exposure, and ambition to fulfill destiny. Needed. That means all this thing needed to fulfill destiny. When there's not enough information, enough skill, enough exposure, and ambition, which is the driver of all these things, the destiny will be limited. What we clamor in this part of the world to be the witchcraft attack is majorly ignorance attack. As a matter of fact, the greatest attack the devil can attack any man is to block their mind. 2 Corinthians 4 verse 4. He said, in whom the God of this world are blinded the minds of them that believe not. Are blinded the minds of them that believe not. So, you see, the greatest challenge, God cannot help a man who is dysfunctional in knowledge. That's why he said the greatest limitation. During the colonial era, the Africans that were enslaved, they were denied of knowledge. They were denied of education. Because they knew that the moment you know, that's the freedom. Hello? The moment you know, that's the beginning of freedom. Can you see that? So they deny them. They will not allow them to learn. But the moment talking about Nigeria now, in 1940, 50, and 1950 to 1960, about our pioneering fathers begin to learn. That was when they begin to demand for freedom. You see, that's what the Bible is so powerful. That's why I say the principles of Jesus is the secret to everlasting blessings. John 8:32 says, you shall know the truth, and the truth will do what? You shall know the truth, and the truth what? Your freedom is dependent on the level of knowledge. So the moment you are ambitious to learn, that's the day your wealth and your success begin. When I talk about knowledge, I'm not just talking about educational knowledge. I'm not talking about just being educational knowledge. It can be a graduate. It doesn't. That's a schooling. That one is so IT or IQ. I'm talking about personal development. I'm talking about exposure. I'm talking about skill. I'm talking about information that will enhance your personal development, that will activate your potentials. In fact, there is a good news that we have, and because the Lagos State government has given us the approval. Okay, let's just say Lagos State NYSC coordinating department, or the Lagos State NYSC chapter has given us approval to train NYSC, the corp members all over Lagos State in business, in training. So we're going to be having series of training, series of conferences with them and lots of that, because we need to let these young folks understand your schooling is one, development is another. Your schooling is one. That's not everything. It's only IT, your IQ. That's why you see many carrying CVs all around where they can create their own jobs. You know, when they create their own jobs, So it's not about I went to school, I have this. It's not enough. Traditional education is not enough. You need to get enough knowledge, information. In fact, a lot of graduates today don't even understand how to convert their education or their course on education to become a skill. In fact, that's one of the things we're going to be taking this week and taking around to those corp members, is understanding the business angle of your profession. Some of them don't even know. They just felt that, oh, I must just get employed. You can convert it into entrepreneurship. You can turn it into a skill. You study human resources, and yet you are looking for, well, one day I'll get a job. Why the job is not coming, you can become human resources consultants. And many companies will be looking for you. You become a hot cake. You even employ people. You are an accountant. You can create accounting firm. Hi. In fact, the other man we were together during the interview, he runs an accounting firm. He said, I just major on taxation, tax filing, and the guy is a multi-millionaire. And here we have all these young graduates up and down, walking up and down, carrying file all around. They can't even. Oh boy! Tell somebody, say knowledge is power. Knowledge is key. Knowledge is light. So you see, knowledge gap is the lack of adequate skill. You have a skill. Is that skill enough to serve the kings? You have information. Is it enough to transform your life? You have exposure. You know that sometimes somebody can have SSC with high exposure. That person can be better than somebody that has BSc with no exposure. These are things we've been doing this for many years. I've seen it many times. Highly practicable. Highly practicable. Now, with the help of internet, exposure does not actually require location any longer. You see some people from the village who are doing fantastic things, creating fantastic ideas from the village because they have access to internet. What you have access to in Lagos or any city where you are, they have access to it as well. So information has changed the game. What was what liberated? That was what ended slave trade. The availability, exposure to information by the slaves. That was what ended slave trade. You can't enslave me when I know. It's not possible. I can't be enslaved. Your limitation is the limitation in knowledge. And the problem of a lot of people is that they have fixed mindsets. I've known enough. And the challenge of a lot of other people is that they know they don't apply. Oh, you're just getting it, feeling your mind, yes, you don't apply. You know, let me tell you something. Ideas are everywhere, all over in the airwaves. It's beaming all around you. But when you don't, say ideas and resources are beaming all around you, but it takes knowledge to convert that. It takes knowledge to convert ideas into opportunities. It is knowledge. Just like what I'm just telling you now. There are many women who are going from house to house, sweeping with broom, house to house. They don't understand that they can convert that singular idea and become into a company and employ people.